not lived in shotgun, but you could basically say they lived in shotgun. There's maybe a few clips we can find of them getting under center, but not much. And then to transition from that to what we're going to ask them to do, a lot of these guys have not regularly turned their back from the defense, and picking that kind of stuff up. How much harder is that transition than maybe people realize, if it is?
No, you said it, and you're using our language to a T. That's what we talk about. It's tough to turn your back on the defense as you depart from center. You make a great play fake, and then you want to find out what you missed when you get to the top of your drop.
Shedeur Sanders is officially the name bouncing around every corner of Cleveland, from loud media debates to quiet locker room chatter, and the noise just keeps rising by the day. Fans, players, even analysts who pretend they don't care are whispering the same thing. This kid might be the brightest quarterback talent the Browns have seen in a long, long time. People are pushing hard for him to get that QB1 spot, and the pressure is getting wild. Even Bill Musgrave, the Browns' offensive assistant, didn't play it safe when the topic came up. When he was asked about Shedeur's potential, he laid it out straight, praising the rookie's raw skill and sharp mind, but keeping it real about the challenge ahead. Musgrave said, "Shedeur, a very talented guy," but he also added that Shedeur has to get fully locked in with the shotgun-heavy system if he wants to thrive. Getting smooth with that setup is going to be major for how Cleveland wants to run this offense. And that's where the fire really starts. Fans are starving for excitement, begging for a real leader, and desperate for a quarterback who can stack wins instead of excuses. With veterans like Joe Flacco still in the mix, plus younger options like Kenny Pickett and Gabriel trying to prove they belong, the battle for the top spot is no joke. But the way Shedeur has been moving during OTAs and minicamp, man, he's grabbing attention from every direction like a magnet. His preseason prep has been flat out electric. People inside and outside the building are already saying he isn't just surviving, he's shining.
When we had Mark Sanchez in New York as a rookie, he started from day one. Things worked out. We had a couple years of really good success. But if I'm Cleveland, Joe Flacco is a great backup. He's going to be 40. I would have Gabriel compete with Shedeur. I'm assuming that Shedeur will beat him out. I think he has more ability. And by the end of the season, the Cleveland Browns, Christine, have to know what they have in Shedeur Sanders and Gabriel. Look, Kenny Pickett just hasn't worked out. He's been a little bit of a journeyman. Maybe you trade him at the end of training camp. But to me, job 1, 2, and 3 is you need to know what you have in Sanders and Gabriel. And I would play those guys right away. Let them have a competition.
He's performing at a level that some are rating right up there with established first-team quarterbacks across the league. That's not hype. That's straight results. During OTAs, his throws have been laser sharp, his timing has been smooth, and his decision-making in those one-on-one drills has coaches raising eyebrows in the best way. He's calm, he's smart, and he's moving with a football IQ you can't teach. On top of that, the way he stacks an overload on one side of the field has already added a whole new twist to Cleveland's offense, and defenders are feeling it. His presence alone makes defenses jumpy, forcing them to shift and scramble before the ball even snaps, opening up a whole menu of new play-calling options for Cleveland. If he lands with the first-team offense, the Browns might unlock a completely new level of their playbook, something they haven't touched in years. At this point, the real question isn't if Shedeur becomes QB1, it's how fast it happens. Former NFL wide receiver James Jones didn't sugarcoat a thing when he was asked about Shedeur Sanders. In his eyes, Shedeur is the clear future starter for the Cleveland Browns, no debate. But Jones also made sure to keep it real about the steps Shedeur has to take to truly grab that role. According to him, the first step is simple, but crucial. He has to show up and show out in those preseason games. Jones said he needs to show the coaches, the fans, and the locker room that he belongs right in the center of the action. Then comes step 2, opportunity. Jones stressed that Shedeur has to be prepared to snatch the moment the second it appears, whether that moment comes from a starter losing form or an unexpected injury. And when that door cracks open, Jones said you don't walk in politely, you kick it in with confidence. So even though the talent is clear and the hype is getting louder, the road to QB1 is still one Shedeur has to walk with patience, preparation, and hunger. The spotlight is already locked on him, and now it's all about what he does under it. On the flip side, Colin Cowherd came into this debate holding stats like receipts, and every single one of them points straight at Shedeur Sanders. Pulling numbers from OTAs, Cowherd argued that Shedeur has been the most efficient quarterback in the entire Browns camp. Completion percentage, pocket presence, decision-making, according to him, Shedeur is checking every box.
When you get your opportunity, however this opportunity may present itself, when you get those reps, you have to make the most of those opportunities. So how he gets on the field is showing, hey man, you got an old veteran quarterback, right, that's probably not going to win you a Super Bowl in Joe Flacco, and you see me ball out in preseason. That's the first step. All right, the second step is once you get into the regular season and you make this football team, you either need these dudes to play bad. When I say these dudes, I mean Kenny Pickett, because I think you're going to be better than Dylan Gabriel. You need Kenny Pickett to play bad or, God forbid, have an injury, and that is how he will get on the football field and start a game. But I think this is a uphill battle. He has to play well, start number one. And to start a game?
At this point, Cowherd says this isn't about potential anymore. This is about straight production. And from what everyone's seen so far, Shedeur isn't just keeping up, he's setting the standard. In Cowherd's words, if Cleveland has the guy, then play the guy. And right now, Shedeur Sanders is that guy. The conversation around Cleveland's quarterback battle just got even louder after a new report dropped another twist into the mix. A local insider covering OTAs revealed that while Shedeur Sanders has been grabbing every spotlight in sight, Dylan Gabriel, another rising quarterback in the lineup, just hasn't been hitting the mark. The reporter said, while Shedeur Sanders has been turning heads, Dylan just hasn't found his rhythm, and added that after watching him closely, it looks like Dylan is struggling to make any real impression out there. But the reporter didn't stop there. He pointed out that even though Shedeur's OTA performance has been impressive, the real proving ground is still coming. Full contact summer training sessions, that's where reputations are made or crushed. He said, if Shedeur wants to lock down that starting spot, he has to keep the momentum rolling and step it up even higher when the real pressure hits. So even if Dylan might be slipping behind in the early stages, Shedeur's rise still isn't a guaranteed coronation. The summer is about to decide whether the rookie sensation actually claims the throne, or whether this story turns into an even heavier battle than anyone expected. Sports journalist Wright also jumped into the debate and didn't hesitate to say exactly how he sees it. Speaking straight, Wright said ranking Dylan Gabriel ahead of Shedeur Sanders makes no sense at all. Not based on performance, not based on potential, not even based on past game film. Wright stated firmly, Shedeur deserves to be there, right? Adding that Shedeur earned that respect with how he's been playing. Then he doubled down, saying, I've watched enough of Dylan's games, and not for a single moment did I think, yeah, this guy's gonna lead the first team in Cleveland, making it crystal clear which quarterback he believes should be stepping forward. Shedeur Sanders is shaking things up in Cleveland in a way that goes way beyond flashy highlights or loud media chatter. He's doing it with steady, clean, efficient work that's getting harder for anyone in the building to ignore. Every rep in OTAs, every snap in minicamp, and every low-key locker room conversation is pointing to the same thing. Shedeur isn't just competing, he's climbing fast. What makes his rise even more impressive is the full skill set he's showing off. His passes have been precise, his football IQ in tight moments has been sharp, and he's bringing a rare ability to stretch the field in ways that open up brand new plays in Cleveland's playbook. While other young quarterbacks are still wobbling around trying to find their rhythm, Shedeur is moving like someone who already belongs on the main stage. Critics, analysts, and even former players are starting to line up behind the same idea. He might be the Browns' best-kept secret right now. And if he keeps this form rolling, there's every reason to believe he could land with the first team sooner than people expected. The Browns need a spark, a leader, someone who can lift this offense to a new level, and right now, Shedeur Sanders is checking every box with confidence. At the rate he's going, he's not just knocking on the door, he's ready to walk right through it like he owns the place. But here's the real question that's heating up the fan base. Is Shedeur Sanders really that good, or are we watching another case of preseason hype getting way out of control?
It is going to be an extremely hard path, but it can be done by the way he plays and balls out and with a little luck on your side. So you got Joe Flacco, Kenny Pickett, Dylan Gabriel, and Shedeur, right? You still got Deshaun Watson coming off of injury. So reps-wise is already going to be limited for the young fella. So you're going to have very limited reps to really, truly show what you...
Shedeur Sanders' rise isn't just a storyline anymore. It's starting to feel like the Browns are watching a takeover happen right in front of them. And the wild part is, nobody inside the building seems shocked. Coaches, veterans, even the quiet guys who never say a word are starting to admit the same thing under their breath. This kid is changing the temperature of the whole locker room. You can see it every time he steps on the field. The offense looks sharper, receivers move with more confidence, and even the O-line straightens up like they know someone behind them actually knows what to do with the ball. That kind of shift doesn't happen by accident. It happens when a quarterback walks in with real energy, real presence, and a hunger that people can feel across the field. And trust me, people are noticing the difference. One team staffer was overheard saying, "It just feels different when Shedeur's taking reps." And that alone tells you everything. Players don't talk like that unless they see something special. Meanwhile, some fans are starting to wonder if the Browns have been overthinking the quarterback situation this whole time. because while the other quarterbacks flash one good moment here and there, Shedeur has been stacking consistent days like he's building a resume for the future of this franchise. What's really stirring the pot is how quickly he's learning the system. Most rookies drown in the playbook. Shedeur's flipping through it like he's been here for years. And when a young quarterback starts showing mastery that fast, it puts pressure on everybody ahead of him on the depth chart. So now the buzz is turning into a real debate. Is Cleveland watching the early stages of a quarterback shift they can't stop even if they wanted to? The craziest part about this whole Shedeur Sanders wave is how fast the coaching staff is starting to adjust around him. You can see it in the way they structure drills, the way they watch him, the way the conversations shift when he's the one stepping up for reps. It's like the entire building is bracing for something big, even if nobody wants to say it out loud just yet. Now, during recent practices, a few assistants were caught watching Shedeur a little longer than usual, taking notes like they're studying a player who might be running the show sooner than planned. And when coaches start doing that, that means they see potential turning into reality right in front of them. It's not just the staff either. Many players are reacting too.
Fewest attempts. He was the most efficient and most productive with the fewest reps. So the quarterback tracker for those radio audience members, Flacco was 9 for 14 and a touchdown. Pickett, 9 for 16, no touchdown. Dylan Gabriel, 11 of 16, 2 touchdowns and a pick, and Sanders, 7 of 9, 3 touchdowns, no picks. This just in. I've seen enough. I'm calling it a wrap. The Herd newsroom is calling it in Ohio by a landslide. Shedeur Sanders should be starting.
You can feel the competitiveness rise around him. Receivers run cleaner routes when he's throwing. Running backs fight harder for extra yards, and defensive guys try to tighten up because they don't want to be the one who gets embarrassed on a highlight clip. That's the kind of effect only a real quarterback carries, the kind that shifts the whole mood of a practice field. One insider even mentioned, guys move sharper when Shedeur's under center, and that type of comment doesn't slip out unless the locker room feels the difference in the air. Meanwhile, the other quarterbacks are starting to sense the heat. You can't ignore it. When a rookie starts climbing this fast, every rep becomes a spotlight moment. Every mistake from the others feels bigger, and every clean throw from Shedeur feels like another step closer to the top. So now the question floating around the facility is getting louder by the day. Is Shedeur Sanders quietly taking control of this team before the season even starts? What's really turning this whole Shedeur Sanders situation into must-watch drama is how the veterans are reacting to him behind the scenes. These are grown men with years in the league, big contracts, and real pride. And even they're starting to look at Shedeur like he's bringing something the team's been missing for a long time. In recent practices, a couple of older players were spotted drifting towards Shedeur during breaks, asking quick questions, checking in, chopping it up with him like he's already part of the leadership circle. That doesn't happen unless they feel something real in his presence, something steady, something that makes them think, yeah, this kid might actually take us somewhere. And the wildest part, Shedeur isn't even trying to force anything. He's not giving big speeches or putting on some dramatic show. He's just carrying himself with that calm, grounded confidence that turns heads without even trying. When a rookie has the vets watching him instead of the other way around, that says everything. But not everyone is thrilled about this shift. A few players on the bubble, the ones fighting for roles and reps, are getting tense. Because when the quarterback room changes, everybody's future shakes with it. If the offense leans into Shedeur's style, some guys thrive, and others might get pushed out of the picture fast. One source close to the team even said, you can feel the room tilt when Shedeur walks in. And that's the type of comment that hints at a whole new hierarchy forming right under the surface. So now the real tension is building. Are the Browns witnessing the natural rise of their next leader? Or is this about to expose cracks in the locker room as pressure starts closing in from every angle?
To my eye, and I'm not a scout, and I'm not going to act like I'm watching a dozen Oregon games a year, but I watched enough Oregon where at no point was I like, oh, that Oregon quarterback, feel like he's a future NFL starter, and nobody did. I don't think Dylan Gabriel did, which is one of the reasons they said they liked him in the interviews so much, or some of the reporting was, because he was all in on like, I'm going to be so good in your quarterback room. I'm going to help your starter get ready. I know it's a long process for me, which is very commendable and got him drafted higher.
The real twist in this whole Shedeur Sanders takeover is starting to show itself during the high-pressure moments in practice. The times when things get messy, timing breaks down, and the offense is on the edge of falling apart. That's where most rookies crumble. But Shedeur, he's been stepping into those chaotic reps like he's been here for years. During a red zone drill this week, things got ugly fast. Missed blocks, a bad snap, defenders crashing in way too quick. The kind of moment that usually ends in a throwaway or a sack. But Shedeur stayed calm, slid out of danger, and hit a tight window throw that had the sideline buzzing like someone kicked a hornet's nest. A couple players were overheard saying, "Man, he stayed cool in that mess." And that kind of reaction spreads fast across a roster. And here's where it gets even more interesting. The coaches didn't say a word. They just nodded, took their notes, and moved on, which tells you they're seeing exactly what everyone else is seeing, but keeping it in-house for now. Meanwhile, the rest of the quarterback room is starting to feel the pressure in ways you can't hide. Body language is shifting. More quiet moments, more frustrated helmet taps, more glances toward the coaches after every rep. Because when a rookie starts stacking clutch moments, it puts the spotlight on every slip-up from the others. Even one defensive player mentioned privately, "He don't panic. That's the scary part, and defenders don't give compliments unless it's real." That's when you know something big is brewing. So now the tension is at an all-time high. Is Shedeur Sanders proving he's built for the fire, or is the rest of the QB room about to collapse under the pressure he's creating? So now the big question hanging over Cleveland is louder than ever. Is Shedeur's standout performance in OTAs really enough to justify all this buzz? Or is the whole city jumping ahead of itself with veterans and other young quarterbacks still fighting for their spot? With the competition heating up, should the Browns seriously think about putting Shedeur as the first choice quarterback this early in the game? This debate is getting wild. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Has Shedeur truly earned that spot? Or does he still need to prove a little more before stepping into that full QB1 role? Let us know what you're feeling, and make sure to like, subscribe, and share the video. See you on the next one.